Hey everybody, Ben here from the Bonehead podcast, and welcome to Blood Bowl 7's Underworld. So we're looking at all the teams available in Blood Bowl 2020, whether it's the rulebook, the Teams of Legend PDF, or the NAF expanded teams, and we're putting together some rosters for you to run that team in Blood Bowl 7s. So Blood Bowl 7s is a quick play variant of Blood Bowl, runs on a smaller pitch with a smaller team and a smaller selection of players. Basically, you can get your games done in about 45 minutes. If you want to know more about 7s, go watch our Intro to 7s video, or check out one of the 2 seasons worth of gameplay we've got, 7 Super Series. Loads of games, really great fun. You can see the teams develop. I loved filming them. It is Blood Bowl 2016 rules, those seasons are, but as soon as we can film Blood Bowl 2021s, we will. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at some of the top Underworld rosters that we've put together. Yeah, so if you've got a tournament coming up and you fancy playing mutated rat goblin men, this will be fun. So, strengths and weaknesses of Underworld. So, the strength is they now have a gutter runner. That is a movement 9, agility 2 plus dodge beast. Okay, because of the way 7s is stacked, you've still got 13 squares from your line of scrimmage to their end zone. So there's going to be no one-turn touchdown nonsense here in Blood Bowl 7. So no movement 10, no sprint getting there. Sprint is going to get you 12 squares, not 13. So you are going to have to come up with a clever way to use something to make that happen. Not sure how to do that in 7s. Could be fun to look at. But the fact is, you've got one gutter runner, and it is a phenomenal piece in 7s. That movement 9 just gives you massive range. That Ag 2 plus and dodge means it's getting out or into wherever you want it to. So it's pretty cool. Mutations is the other point of difference here for the Underworld team. So every player on this team gets mutations on a normal. So where skill packages are quite small in 7s, you're looking at 2 to 3 skills per team. This is a tier 2 team, so you may get 3 or 4 skills, and one of them may or may not be a secondary. Doesn't matter. You're going to be able to spend those individual skills giving your guys mutations if you want to. So 2 heads, extra arms are just going to massively increase your team's agility. Or, you can do that whole claw thing and murder people. So there's a whole bunch of flexibility with Underworld. You're going to be limited by the amount of skills you get, but it's 7s. It doesn't matter. If you get 3 skills in 7s, that's almost half of your active team that's got skills. So that's pretty cool. The other thing we haven't put on here, but we'll come to, I think, when we look at some of our rosters, is the Snotlings. You can take Snotlings, and they have swarming. So going from 7 players to 8 or 9 for a drive in 7s is massive. The problem is that Snotlings in this format count as positionals. So you can only have up to 4 positionals on your team in 7s. So that is anything other than the lineman on your team. So for this team, that's the Underworld Goblins. So everything else counts as one of your 0 to 4. So if you want to take Snotlings, you can. It just limits the availability of your other positionals, but it can get you that all-important extra player on the pitch. Or 2 or 3 to go for kind of a fouling potential, or just to run 10 people against 7. It's going to give you a distinct advantage. Weaknesses here, limited on strength. So you've got a Skaven Blitzer, a Skaven Thrower, 3 Skaven Linemen, and a Rat Ogre or Troll. That's your best players there available for strength. Everybody else is strength 2 or strength 1 and has armor 8 plus, really. So it is a fragile team. It is, however, a fast and dodgy team. Most of these guys are ending up with dodge one way or another, so that's actually, it kind of balances out. 140k rerolls hurt the team as well. In 7s, the whole idea is that these teams are kind of up and coming. They're not quite there yet. So rerolls are double costed in 7s to stop you from spamming rerolls. So 140k means it's really difficult to get into a roster without sacrificing significantly better players. Also, low armor value, we talked about that already. This team goes pop, but it does so in a cataclysmic mutated way. So I like it. Alright, so our first roster of the day is the Rogre Mix. So the Rat Ogre Mix roster. This one comes in at 570. You end up with 1 Rat Ogre, 1 Blitzer, 1 Thrower, 1 Gutter Runner, and 4 Goblins. So you end up with 8 players, 570k. Now, a lot of these rosters are going to come in under 600. That spare cash is down to you to flex up a positional or to change into something else. I recommend assistant coaches because it's the best this kind of gives you the best angle to free roll a reroll or two in Blood Bowl 7. So if you're seeing a roster that comes in at 570, chuck 3 assistant coaches on there to take you up to the 600k limit. So this roster, you get 1 Rat Ogre. So the Rat Ogre in 7s is pretty great. It was always pretty great, and I think that now it's got animal savagery, it might actually be better. So blitzing with a big guy is always great fun. This one is a movement 6, strength 5 big guy. Agility 4+ is pretty sweet. Frenzy, Mighty Blow. It's got Prehensile Tail as well, which will come in handy every now and again. But the fact is, you've got a Frenzy, Mighty Blow, strength 5 piece with movement 6. That covers the entire pitch, essentially, from sideline to sideline. And with Frenzy and with Mighty Blow, this guy is just going to basically have 4 dice against most other players. It's got Loner 4+, so going for that reroll is going to hurt if you need to, but it's 7s. You probably don't have a reroll anyway. No rerolls on this roster. Now the cool thing in the boost here, which I think actually makes the Rat Ogre even better in 7s, is you're never going to fail a blitz. All you got to do is put a guy next door to it. Animal Savagery allows you to roll, which is basically a 2+ if you're blocking or blitzing anyway, but if you fail that roll and there's no one stood there, it basically boneheads. If you fail that roll and someone is stood next door to the Rat Ogre punches them to the ground, you have to roll armor, and it will mean you have to use Mighty Blow, but you then carry on with your action. So some of the biggest downside of a big guy blitz, and you'll see this if you watch 7 Super Series, is you lose that blitz action. That is over, and that dude is done. You've got cheap guys here with the goblins. You've got 8 players, so you can stand to lose 1. Armor 8+ is alright. That's going to be okay sometimes. Mighty Blow is going to hurt you. But basically, the whole point here is you will be able to blitz with this Rat Ogre every single time if you want to. You are going to have an element of, oh no, I keep murdering my own players. But on the other side of that, you're getting a Frenzy movement 6, strength 5 Mighty Blow piece. You're going to be removing theirs as well. And you don't have to remove their ball carrier to be able to swoop in and steal it and score a touchdown. And for that, you have the Thrower and the Gutter Runner. Now, the Thrower for Skaven is fantastic. Movement 7, Agility 3+, and Passing 2+, with sure hands and pass. So no rerolls in 7s most of the time. You don't even need it. 3+ with a reroll to pick up that ball, and 2+ with a reroll to get that ball to somebody 3 squares away, stretching up to 6 squares for a 3++ pass, which is 89% chance of success. That is a huge amount of reach, especially on a 7s pitch. And who are you throwing to? You're throwing to the Gutter Runner. And the Gutter Runner is movement 9, agility 2+, so good catching odds, and then he's gone. And he's got dodge if you really need to move through a tackle zone or two. So the ability here for the Blitzer and the Rat Ogre to sack the ball carrier and probably end its life, and then have the Thrower to swoop in, grab the ball and chuck it up to the Gutter Runner, or quite frankly to a Goblin and score, means that I think this roster is really strong. I think it might be potentially stronger than a straight Skaven team, because you've got that flexibility with some of the skills to get extra arms. A Gutter Runner with 2 heads is dodging on a 1+, or with extra arms is dodging catching the ball on a 1+. In fact, Monstrous Mouth I think gives you you kind of get catch with the benefit of sure hands. So I think a Gutter Runner with Monstrous Mouth is going to do really, really, really well here. So that's even on defense. On offense, you've just got a straight goal here. All you have to do is plot up the pitch, 1 square. I recommend 3 or 4. You sit in that middle ground, Thrower gets the ball, Gutter Runner goes for it. You get that throw, you get that good dodge. The Rat Ogre and the Blitzer get a really good opportunity to strike where they want to open the space to create that hole for the Gutter Runner to just run in for a touchdown. 2-turn touchdowns are going to be the absolute forte of this roster. Skills wise, there's a ton you can do with any of these players. We talked about mutations. Goblins are fantastic. 2 heads means they're dodging everywhere forever on a 2+. That's amazing. That is actually amazing. And movement 6 is not bad for these little guys. Horns means they're blitzing anywhere on a 3+ and then doing it at strength 3. There's a ton of cool skills for these guys. Gutter Runners just get great with block, it protects them. Wrestle means they can dodge into places and then drag somebody down. On this roster, I actually prefer, if you can, spending a double skill and getting a wrestle on the Goblin rather than the Gutter Runner. The Gutter Runner is going to be basically 3+ into 1 tackle zone, 4+ into 2 tackle zones with dodge. The Goblin's going to be doing it on 3+ forever, no matter how many tackle zones you are, so it gives you a really good option there. However, you've got the Rat Ogre and the Blitzer to be doing your murdering, and quite frankly, any combat skill goes great on those, and the Thrower, you can even chuck Leader on him if you want. Now, this is a powerful build, and I am feeling really good about getting my Underworld painted. But if you are a Underworld purist, you're going to want to take the Troll instead. So we've got the Troll mix here coming in at 575. 1 Troll, 1 Blitzer, 1 Thrower, and 1 Gutter Runner, backed up by 5 Goblins. So this team here, 9 players. Why does it need extra players? You don't have the animal savagery of the Rat Ogre. You instead have the throw teammate of the Troll. So basically you drop the Rat Ogre and you get a Troll and a Goblin instead. And basically everything we just said about the last roster is true. The Troll is significantly worse at blitzing. So give him guard, give him strong arm, use him to throw things. With 9 players, you've got a couple on the bench, which means you can afford to do my favourite tactic with throw teammate, which is the defensive throw teammate. Paratroop that guy into the backfield and just harass the ball carrier. If he does come up to you, you've got the Blitzer, you've got the Thrower, you've got the Troll, and as long as you're backing up the Troll with another friend, you can kind of get around really stupid. You will not have an automatic blitz you same way you can with the Rat Ogre, but it's still strength 5. So there's a ton of work you can do here. I like the Troll mix for Underworld. Again, you can go mutation heavy, but the really cool thing is you get that throw teammate with a reasonable bench. And the Underworld Goblins are really, really great stunties. They're up there with my favourite because they're so flexible and they are remarkably resilient for Goblins. Okay, next up we've maxed out our capital. We are bringing this roster to you at 600k and it is the Ratpack Reroll. So no big guy on this roster. What we've done basically is drop the Rat Ogre / Troll and spent that cash getting a reroll instead. So coming in at bang on your limit, you get 1 Blitzer, 1 Thrower, 1 Gutter Runner, still 5 Goblins, so you're running an 8-man team, which means you've got a bench of 1 and you've got that reroll. What that does do is it allows you to probably flex a skill away from the Thrower, taking Leader, being able to use the skill somewhere else instead. Honestly, when it comes to Underworld, I think the big guy is just such a huge focus. I mean, I've got the Troll here from Punga ready to go as an alternative because I'm really excited for Underworld at the moment because it's just so good, just so much chaos. So the advantage of this team is you've got more bench, kind of, but you've got more consistency, and quite frankly, the Skaven Blitzer is a great player. The Skaven Thrower is a great player, and the Gutter Runner ain't bad. Plus 5 mutated goblins. You're going to be able to brawl. This is more mid-range, and this does suffer from strength, but it will be more consistent, and there's that. And we've got a couple of fun rosters for you now. We've got Rogre Snot here. Rat Ogre Snot. 575, I think. And this roster is an interesting one. So 1 Rat Ogre, 6 goblins, plus 3 Snotlings and a reroll. So the whole angle of this team is you've got the Rat Ogre and you've got a bunch of goblins. But where the Snotlings have swarming, they do cost you positionals, so which is one thing. So you've got no good players here. You've got the Rat Ogre and you've got a bunch of Snotlings. So the whole angle is you use that swarming ability with the Snotlings to deploy, what is it, D3 plus 1 extra players. Might be nerfed in your league. It might be up to D3, for example. Doesn't matter. You're still going to be deploying 1, 2 or 3 extra Snotlings. What that does is it gives you a numerical advantage. Snotlings are great. They are really great. They are underrated. They're just amazingly underrated. They're strength 1, which is garbage. Their armor 1, which is garbage. Their armor 6+. But they've got sidestep. They've got titchy. They've got dodge. Honestly, blocking a Snotling is the most frustrating thing in the world. You can roll 4 or 5 block dice, it doesn't matter, because unless you roll that little magical star, this little dude is just going to dance around you. And that's fantastic. But the real reason the Snotlings are there is they're there for numerical advantage, and they're there to make that Rat Ogre just work every single time. You've got 10 players on the pitch, you've got 8 players on the pitch, whatever. You've got a spare one to just wander around and look after that Rat Ogre. Plus, use Titchy on the Snotlings, use Stunty on the Goblins. They're just going to walk anywhere they want to go, and that Rat Ogre is going to blitz every single time, and if he doesn't, he's just going to melt a Snotling. That's not the end of the world. Interesting roster. And I like that you can do it, and I like the way I think swarming is going to affect sevens, because on the one hand you've got those extra players, you've got those extra activations, you've got those extra tackle zones. On the other hand, it is just Snotlings. But you got to reroll, I suppose. And you can't have Rat Ogre Snot without having Troll Snot. So basically the same angle here. Troll Snot comes in at 580. 1 Troll, 7 Goblins, so that's 8 players, plus 3 Snotlings, 11 players, and a reroll there. So the advantage of this roster is you have living ammunition. So every single turn you throw a teammate, whether it's a Goblin or a Snotling. Preferable probably to throw the Snotlings because they are essentially free and you will have extra players on there. But honestly, throwing a player at a cage is going to be quite effective every now and again. But you're going to end up with your full 7 players, so the Troll and Goblins, and a couple of Snotlings running around as well. And it's going to give you that numerical advantage. You're going to be able to tag players. You're going to be able to gang up on players. Because a Goblin with a single assist from a Snotling is basically a human lineman. I know that's a stretch, but it will be able to kind of take away that strength disadvantage that the team has, and then you can kind of focus on the fact that everybody here is stunty and dodgy, which means that they are just doing what they're doing on a permanent die roll. This is a massively I have to roll high to make this worst list, but it's going to be great fun when you pull it off. Plus, just, you know, got like an army on the pitch. It's going to be great. It's going to be so disheartening for your opponents when they see a Troll, some Snotlings, some Goblins. Ah, it's just wicked. And the last roster we've got for you is the 6-4 Stunty. So this one also comes in at exactly 600. And it's an interesting one. So 6 Goblins, 4 Snotlings, and 2 rerolls. So everything we just said about swarming absolutely applies. Everything we just said about Goblins having Stunty and you can do shenanigans applies. And you get 2 rerolls. So this roster, generally speaking, isn't going to do very well. But every now and again, you are going to power roll those dice, and they are just going to run away with it. Goblins are movement 6. 1, 2 go for its turn, and you will get a 2-turn score. In fact, it's just 1 go for it a turn. Agility 3+ means they're solid at picking up the ball, passing the ball, catching the ball. They're great. And you've got 4 Snotlings, which means you're going to be playing this roster basically every drive with your Goblins and some Snotlings. It's going to be a really interesting build. Now, it is going to fall apart, but for the first 3 turns of the game, your opponent is not going to know where to go, because wherever they go, you can just move and just go through them. It's going to be horrific. This is going to be like playing against mutated, gribbly, bad-smelling water. But this will be no surprise to any of you that the Rogre mix is absolutely my pick for this team. I love Skaven. I love Rat Ogres. I love Underworld Goblins. The only thing missing from this roster is Snotlings, but quite frankly it's not worth giving up a Rat Ogre, a Blitzer, a Thrower or a Gutter Runner to make that happen. This roster has a bit of everything, and it kind of even has a little bit of an advantage over some of the Skaven rosters, because on the Skaven guy roster you'd have 3 linemen, whereas you've got 4 goblins, and I think that in 7s these goblins are significantly better than Skaven linemen. They've got 3+ dodge everywhere. There's a strength deficit, sure, and they are a tiny bit slower, but you just have that flexibility when it comes to them running around and doing crazy stuff. Like, just as long as you roll something higher than a 3, you cannot lose. Asterix, you definitely can lose. Anyway, this roster, you've got a big guy to blitz with. You've got a blitzer to just be a superb player. You've got what has to be considered one of the best throwers in the game. Yes, Matt Ellis. I know that I sound like I sound like an agent for throwers, but it could be one of the best players in the game. And you got the Gutter Runner, and you got some Goblins. This is just where fun and power meets at a level that I am super happy with. You've got craziness, the big guy. You've got just jank when it comes to really solid players, and you've got mutated Goblin nonsense. I don't know if there is a roster I love more than this one in 7s, and I cannot wait to get this to the pitch. And I don't expect it to win all the time. I think in a 5-game tournament you're looking at, honestly, 3-2 with this one. You're probably going to win more games than you lose, but when you start to lose players, it's going to start collapsing in on itself. That happens with Skaven, and the Goblins are slightly more fragile because they're stunty. However, as a kind of combo explosive piece, you're going to be able to do whatever you want with this roster, and you're going to pull it out, and it's going to be so much fun. Anyway guys, I'm done gushing about Underworld in 7s, so thanks for watching. Let me know which of these rosters you like. It's this one. And I'll be back soon with more Blood Bowl content. Thank you. Happy blocking. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to support the show even further, please like and subscribe. It really helps us out. Or come and join us in our Patreon, link below, where you get early access to our content and monthly competitions. See you later.